Happy Christmas everybody, or Happy New Year, or Happy Random Wednesday in June, whenever you happen to be stumbling across this particular video. But let's go with Happy Christmas, because we've got a present of our own, all beautifully wrapped up with a bow on it. Personally, I'm hoping for a GT3, maybe a Caterham, but let's find out.
Now this looks like it might take some time, and someone has probably already ruined it by putting the name of the car in the title of the video, for SEO or something. So I'll just get on with it. It's a Volkswagen T-Roc R. Now some of you may have been unaware that there were any Rs other than the Golf, and some of you may be about to turn off entirely at the sight of a performance SUV. I confess that they are not exactly my favourite genre of car either, but there are a couple of reasons why I thought this might be worth a little more attention.
The first reason is Jost Capito. Now, in case his name's not familiar to you, I'll give you a quick resume of his career so far. He started out at BMW working on the E30 M3, pretty good place to start, worked on the engine of that underneath none other than Paul Roscher. Then he moved to Porsche Motorsport and is in charge of the single make championships, but was also in charge of getting the 964 RS off the ground. He went to Sauber F1, then he went to Ford, where he was doing stuff with RS. So that was around when Focus RS first came back in. And when got the Focus ST off the ground, then the next Focus RS, then some more with WRC, then went to Global, Raptor, then he went to VW, and he was in charge of their WRC program from 2013 to 2016 when they won Drivers' and Constructors' Championships 4 years on the trot. Then he went briefly to McLaren, a couple of months, came back, and now he's in charge of R. And this really is sort of kind of the first expansion out of Golf R. So, if anybody can make this fun to drive, can make a small SUV fun to drive, surely it's Jost Capito. So that is reason number one.
Now, with impeccable timing, and I'm sure one eye on making things awkward for me, the day after I filmed that piece to camera, Jost Capito decided to write another chapter in his CV and leave Volkswagen to become CEO of the Williams Formula 1 team. Still, the T-Roc R was developed on his watch, so the point still stands. Right. Buckle up, we're about to talk about modular design strategies.
Reason number two is the platform that this is based on. Now, you might have heard of the VW Group's MQB platform, which was released 5-6 years ago, something like that. And that spawned things like the Golf and the Audi Q2. But then there were three other platforms, so MQB A0, A1 and A2. And this is on A1, so the middling one. And the relatives to this car are things like the Skoda Karoq and the Seat Ateca, both of which I happen to have driven and really rather like. They're kind of guilty pleasures almost. I drove the Ateca a while ago. It had a manual gearbox, just normal dampers, I think a 1.6 petrol engine, and it was really, really good fun, just unexpectedly so. One of those sort of random, apparently mundane cars, very forgettable on the surface, that was just actually really good to drive. Just something about it got right. Then I happened to drive the Skoda Karoq all around Europe basically, with a bicycle in the back and a photographer and all sorts of cycling gubbins, and basically lived out of it for a week. And again, really, really good fun. So I'm hoping that a performance version of those two cars could be very good.
Right, let's go through a few details both of the T-Roc R in general and this specific car.
Under the bonnet, we've got the EA 888 2-litre turbocharged engine, putting out 296 brake horsepower and 295 pounds-foot of torque. The latter is from 2,000 RPM all the way up to 5,500 RPM. That's good enough for 0-62 in 4.9 seconds, which is a couple of tenths down on the Golf R, which there are a lot of similarities. I'm going to refer to the Golf R a lot. That's not the brand new Mark 8, this is the previous generation Golf R, because essentially it's the same running gear underneath. So we've got the same 4Motion with the sort of an Haldex system in terms of the all-wheel drive. Talking of Golf R, you see R on the brakes there. These are the brakes from the Golf R Performance Pack. Top speed of this, 155 miles an hour flat out, that's all it's got. You can only get it with the 7-speed DSG, so no manual, boo, but there we are. Talking of Golf R, the overall dimensions of this car, so it is slightly shorter, 17 millimeters shorter overall than the Golf R, and the wheelbase is 25mm shorter, but it is wider, and as you'd expect, it's about 17mm taller than a Golf R.
Its suspension rides 20mm lower than a standard T-Roc, those are 19-inch Pretorial wheels by the way, and the whole thing weighs 1,581 kilos, which is 76 kilos more than a Golf R's curb weight, and explains the big brakes.
The spec of this particular car, we've got Lapis Blue, which is this. You can have the whole car in Lapis Blue, but for extra, you can have the roof in contrasting black, which I'm not sure if it was my choice if I would actually have. There's quite a lot going on here with sort of black up here, and then we've got chrome here, chrome mirrors, blue there. It seems a bit like you've got half a black pack and half chrome. Not quite sure about that. I also think it looks better probably from the rear than the front, but overall, it's quite chunky, looks better than I thought. Tyres, as we move down to the back here, we've got some Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 2s. S1 Evo 2s, nicely reminiscent of Audi Quattro rally cars, so I like that. Grams per kilometre of CO2, 201. They claim the combined on WLTP cycle MPG as 31.8, so we'll see what that's like. Big optional extra on this car though is down here. We have an Akrapovic titanium exhaust, which comes in at a princely sum of £3,050.
That is added to the already considerable base price of £40,735. So, unlike that wrapping paper, this is not cheap.
Inside here, perhaps the most noticeable option is this, which is the Lapis Blue, so same colour code as the paint outside, matte inserts, only £115, and they do sort of, I think they lift the interior somewhat from it just being normal piano black and grey. A lot of scratchy plastic going on here, but as somebody pointed out, hard wearing I think is the PR way of saying that. The seats though, very nice indeed. We've got Alcantara inserts and then this carbon flag cloth here with our logos in the back as well. Other thing, this down here, we have a mode button because we've got the dynamic chassis control, which is a £695 option, and that gives you the various modes. So we've got comfort, normal, and then we've got the race and then the individual mode. So obviously the adaptive dampers in this, so we'll get into a bit of that when we go for a drive in it. Other things, we've got the digital cockpit in here, so we've got the screen in there for the dials, etc., as well as the one up here. And yes, it's slightly wider than a Golf R, obviously a little bit more headroom, but otherwise pretty much the same.
Boot space, by the way, is slightly larger than in the Golf R, 392 litres with the seats up and 1,237 litres with the seats down. Easily big enough for a 58cm frame with the front wheel removed.
So there we are, the T-Roc R. A few details, a quick unboxing. Is it going to change my mind over the next 6 months that it's with us at Car Fiction? Is it going to change your mind as well? Has Jost Capito made a small SUV fun? Let us know in the comments below what you'd like to know about the car, what you'd like to see us do with it. But one thing I'm not going to do again is wrap it up in Christmas paper or birthday paper or any other sort of paper, because that was just, it was a silly idea. What was I thinking? A windy day in December, I mean, ridiculous.
Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you'd like to be the first to know about any updates with our T-Roc R, then just make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you hit that little bell notification icon. Thank you.